I'm Bill McMahon along with Mark Hosteller. This is Way to Go Podcast, and we were talking about where is happiness. And one of the things that I guess I'm concerned with is when you look for happiness in the wrong places, it's just not a good thing. And some people seek it in pleasure, and it comes out of Ecclesiastes where Solomon did this. So he builds houses, he builds huge buildings, right? Mm-hmm. He gets servants, he drinks, he has a harem, he has all these things, even wisdom, and he just realizes none of it really makes him happy. And one of the things that they talk about in Ecclesiastes 1 is the wind blows to the south, goes round to the north. Round and round goes the wind. Then on its circuit, the wind returns. And it's just endless. It's just this endless thing of the winds. Now it's from the north. Now it's from the south. Now it's from, and we go through it. We experience it. Mm-hmm. Sometimes when you run, it's just, the wind shifts, maybe not every moment of the day, but one day it's out of the south, one day it's out of the north. We've been through it all winter long. It says all streams run to the sea, but the sea is not full. To the place where the streams flow, there they flow again. And he's just noticing it's cyclical. It's like the sea just keeps going. All things are full of weariness. A man cannot utter it. The eye is not satisfied with seeing, and nor the ears fill with hearing. And I was talking to somebody yesterday, and I told them, listen, because there are people that feel bad about themselves. They feel bad about their looks. They feel bad about their bodies. They're looking for some kind of validation. They feel like they can't measure up. I'm sure it's very common in our world today, especially you get into social media and you've got these, outdoor accounts with these girls that are like perfectly, and they're flaunting it constantly. And then you have the women who don't fit that same mold. They feel less about themselves, so on and so forth. So I told one person I was talking to about these kind of issues the other day, I said, look, don't look to social media for validation about yourself. Because what will happen is you had a great post, you'll feel good about yourself. You have a bad post, you don't. I said, because if you seek it, you will never find it. You will never be satisfied. I think if you seek praise and your whole life is, I just want to be praised, it'll never be enough. You will never hear enough praise. Why? Because the ear never has its fill with hearing. If that's what you want to hear and that's what your life's about, there's no one can fill that emptiness enough.
That's right.
I'd rather not seek it, to be honest. I'd rather just seek to do the best that I can, serve God, fear God, keep his commandments is what it says later on in Ecclesiastes. I'd rather just focus on that and not focus on you praise me.
I agree, man. This is a slippery, slippery slope. You will fall. I mean, this is something that you start going down this path, it's going to lead to destruction.
Right.
Because it's rooted in pride. And if you start playing a comparison game, what'll end up happening inevitably is you'll start to live your life to please people,
right,
instead of pleasing God. You'll start making compromises.
Right.
You'll start doing things that are unholy eventually. And here's my opinion. You want to be truly happy, start with holiness. Be holy.
Right.
It says be godly.
Or seek first his kingdom and his righteousness.
That's right.
That's
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Is you seek God. The byproduct of seeking God is happiness in your life, blessing. Or
service, or whatever God wants you to do. I mean, I think when we're saying seek God, I mean, we're not talking about some nebulous things. It's just, what does God want you to do? Well, God wants me to serve. God wants me to help people. So you get involved in a nursery, you get involved in a junior church, you get involved in a VBS, whatever it is, food pantry, so on and so forth. And you get involved and you do things. To me, a lot of happiness is derived right there. But if I were to seek it, like for me, I never sought money. I didn't seek it. I didn't want it. It found me anyway. I didn't seek it. It was never a pursuit. If it was, it would have never been enough. It would have just, you would start overreaching. If I don't seek, it's what does it be thou my vision? Riches I heed not, nor man's empty praise.
Right.
If you seek it, and like I told this person, I said, listen, don't seek validation here. If you seek it, it's never going to be enough. And I shared this verse with them actually. And I said, you'll never have enough. Don't seek it. It'll find you on its own. If you just seek to do a good job, you just seek to help people, you just seek to put, hey, this is like, I have certain things that my pages are about. Like I have one page, it's about showing the beauty of Ohio or wherever we are. It's about the outdoors. It's about things that you may not see. The purpose being to inspire, you to get out there and, go find these places because it's really, really beautiful world. And, you hate to, live your life and miss it. So, we're an inspiration page for that kind of thing. That's my goal. I don't get worked up. Like I put a really killer video on the other day, didn't really go anywhere. I don't care. Like I'm not taking it down. Some people would take it down. They would, didn't do good enough to take. I don't care. I'm like, it did what it did. Yeah. I put the beauty out there. You see it, you didn't see it. I'll come back at it from another angle later on. I don't worry about these things. I don't get caught up in these things because this has nothing to do with me or the value I place on myself. I'm not looking for it because if you try to seek it, I've had people, all they want is praise. Just praise me, praise me, praise me. And I know right away, I can't praise you enough. Because if that's what you want, it's never, ever, ever enough.
That's right. It's exactly right, man. We can't make the pursuit of happiness our primary goal.
Right.
I just can't make pursuit of anything your primary goal other than God Almighty. And the byproduct, I think, of these things, like seeking his kingdom, being godly, there's a byproduct that happens naturally, and that's happiness, blessing. That's what I'm trying to come from is Psalm 32:11. Rejoice in the Lord and be happy. Why? You who are godly.
Right.
So if you're living a godly lifestyle, you're not going to do things that are sinful, which lead to destruction and unhappiness.
Right. Well, I think too, you're if you have your vertical relationship, that's part of your happiness too. I mean, having a relationship with God is part of being at peace in this world. So I think it's important from that perspective. I wouldn't say don't pursue happiness in that the Declaration of Independence talks about the pursuit of happiness. Also, Ecclesiastes 3:12 says, "Be happy and do good." So I look at it like he's telling you right there in Ecclesiastes, no, be happy. But it's not a destination. In other words, happiness is on the way. It's the journey. It's not me getting to a destination. I think what you're saying when you're saying don't pursue happiness is don't pursue it through possessions, through money, through pleasure, through praise. Yeah, don't seek those things and say, hey, if I have enough of this, I'll be happy. If I have enough of this, I'll be happy. If I have enough of this,
I'll be happy. What I'm trying to say.
I think that when you're living your life, you realize, no, the joy is on the journey. Now, people say this. I see it all the time. This is my happy place. This is my happy place. So I'm at the beach right now. This is my happy place. I'm at the gym. This is my happy place. I'm at a hunting stand. This is my happy place. I'm fishing on the river. This is my happy place. Okay, I get it. To a point. But I don't have a place per se, this is my happy place, because I want to be happy in my office. I want to be happy if I'm mowing the lawn. I want to be happy if I'm running a weed eater. I want to be happy if I'm working on eBay. I want to be happy if I'm counseling. I want to be happy if I'm teaching. I want to be happy anywhere.
There was last time we went to the Outer Banks, there was a conversation that I brought up in our car because I heard some complaining happening about the car ride.
Right.
And I asked the question, does vacation start when we get into the car or when we get onto the beach?
Right.
When does vacation start? Because we can make this a miserable ride.
Right.
Or we can enjoy
yes.
the drive and count it as part of our vacation.
Right.
Is this part of it?
Right.
Let's look around at scenery we don't normally get to see, and enjoy the process. Be happy.
Because if you're constantly in the chase, like I think what he realized was it was meaningless because he was always seeking something. Like he was always chasing, chase. And he realized this whole life is nothing but a chase after the wind. You're going to accumulate the stuff. You don't know who's going to get it. You don't know what's going to happen. The wise and the fool are both going to die. You're not going to be here forever. You don't control it. And he's frustrated. He's frustrated with the cycle. He's frustrated with, man, it's all these things. So then he came to, you know what? I just got to appreciate the toil. That's my lot in life. My lot in life is to embrace some of those frustrations, embrace the cyclical, embrace the car ride, embrace the labor that it takes to, honestly, like when I was working on our patio, I was happy to shovel rock. And my friend's like, he thinks I'm an idiot. And it's like, what is wrong with you? Like, why are you even doing this to yourself?
There's a sense of, man, don't you agree? There's a sense of like such enjoyment and satisfaction that comes with just putting your hand to that pick and shovel and just working, and I don't know. I mean, there's just
to me, I I just find that I can be happy or not happy wherever I'm at. I can be unhappy that I have a long car ride, or I can enjoy the views along the way and say, hey, man, it's just a beautiful ride, and this is part of it. And, yeah, I didn't see everything maybe I wanted to see, but I got to see a lot just in the drive itself.
Yeah.
And that was beautiful. So some of the trips, I've taken with my, the whole drive is beautiful. Everywhere we see is beautiful.
Yeah,
so,
because me and you and probably people listening, like, I don't actually punch out at work, but, like, my vacation starts in my mind as soon as I know I'm leaving work for the last time and won't be there for 7 more days or something. Like, as soon as I leave work, my mind's in vacation mode. I'm like, yes, I'm gone
sure,
for
and
a
that
bit.
feels good.
And for me, that's when it starts. And the whole thing, that whole week, I'm trying to make the most I can out of that time of rest and vacationing because I want to be happy doing it,
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think to me, it's the joys in the journey. It's not just being at the beach. Do I love seeing a good sunset? Yes, I do. Of course I do. Do I like hanging out with friends? Do I like hiking? Oh, yeah, I like it. I look forward to doing it, but I'm not going to be like, oh, I'm not happy all week until I get out there and do that. I'm like, no, I can be happy doing anything. It's like, I'm happy serving my wife. My wife, is in my office the other day, and she's like, well, she comes in, and I tell her I'm hungry. She goes, well, I'm eating a shake, so, we're not going to eat until after. I'm like, oh, okay. So 10 minutes later, what do you want to eat before we go? Do you want to eat before we go? Do you want to eat before? I'm like, well, you already said we're not. I can teach this class hungry. So then she's getting upset with me. You know what I mean? Because she goes, why don't you just give me a straight answer? I'm like, you already told me we're not eating. Like, I'm not going to put you out.
You've already taken that option out of your mind.
Exactly.
Like,
you already told me we're not.
Yeah.
So she goes, I just have to heat it up, this and that. I said, okay, fine, I'll eat. So I go over there. I'm like, we don't have time to eat right now because she was getting to this. I'm like, I don't even get it. But I told her on the way up, I said, listen, I'm not thinking about just myself. I'm thinking about you, and there's nothing wrong with me being considerate. I'll go hungry if that's better for you.
Yeah.
You gave me a shake? Yeah, because you know why? Because I ran 4 miles, and I ate a bowl of cereal, and I had a smoothie. Like, this is my whole day's consumption, 1 bowl of cereal, 1 smoothie. So after I ate that, I still wasn't full because I'm not eating bread, which would fill me up. I'm trying to stay away from all that stuff. And I'm like, no, I'm just staying away from it. I'm avoiding this stuff. I'm willing to do it hungry for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can even be happy going hungry if I'm doing it for you.
Yeah, because that's that's a great point, Bill, because one of the things I'm thinking about, what makes us happy, serve somebody.
Yeah.
When you serve other people and make things about them, man, there's a sense of happiness that comes from that.
My life is not about me.
That's right.
It never has been. It can't be. You know what I'm saying? Because if I'm a self-centered son of a gun, I'm never going to be happy not one day in my life. But there was a song that I used to listen to, and I think it came out when I was 15 or 16. It was called Baker Street by Jerry Rafferty. And they was talking about this guy rolling, you're just moving stones. And the lyrics go, just one more year and then you'll be happy. Just one more year and then you'll be happy. But you're just moving stones. Like, you're not. Yeah, next year when I get to this place, when I get this next job, when I take this next step, when I get my house built, when I get a new car, then I'll be happy. To me, that's a problem.
That's a big
if I'm
problem,
putting off my happiness off till some point on the horizon, when I get here on vacation, when I finally get from me to Iceland, then I'll really be happy. If you're not happy in the process, if you're not happy with the planning, if you're not happy with it, you can be happy with any of it. I guess that's what I'm saying. It says, be happy and do good. Ecclesiastes 3:12, my theme verse. Yeah, I can't be happy without doing good. Like you said, seek God, be holy, however you want to phrase it. It doesn't matter to me how you want to phrase it. You seek God, fear God, all those things. Do good.
Yep.
Be happy and do good. That's all you have to worry about. Am I doing good? Be happy. But it's on me. Like, my happiness is on me. It's not on anyone else. It's not on a destination. It's not on you saying this, not saying this. My wife, sometimes, could I be happier? In certain situations, I'm sure I could be, but we all have our frustrations. I get it, but I'm still working towards that constantly, just being a happy person.
Yeah, it's such a great point, man. I'm Wednesday evenings right now. I'm doing a small group on grief, and a lot of the emphasis of this small group is your response to the catastrophic loss that you've endured.
Right,
is what's going to matter most.
Right.
Our response, our attitude, our mindset going into this thing about happiness, that's what's going to make us happy, is having the mindset that's just like, you know what, I'm going to choose happiness.
Right.
I have the ability to actually choose this.
Yeah, absolutely.
you know.
I mean, I think of Christ being sad. Like I talked to somebody recently, and they were saying that they grew up in a church where you couldn't even say you were sad. You couldn't say anything about anxiety, depression, anything like that. They didn't even recognize it. They're just like, you don't have faith. Jesus Christ was sad in the Garden of Gethsemane. I mean, some things are I don't care how happy of a person I am.
Yeah.
I was sad when my friend died, Steve. You know, I mean, I was sad when my mom died.
Absolutely.
There are certain things that you embrace it. Like, I don't think anyone was saying to Jesus, hey, Jesus, spirituality check. Where are you really at with God right now? Because you shouldn't be overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Like, that's how sad he was. Yeah. He was so sad. It was sadness to the point of death.
Yep.
That's how bad it was for him. And I relate to that. And how did he handle it? He went and prayed. I'm going to be talking about it on Sunday. I'm like, we don't tell people it's okay to be sad when there's sad things going on. You know, we're not saying don't be sad. I'm saying in my general principle, Christ for the joy set before him endured the shame.
That's right.
He's not unhappy his whole life. But yeah, he went through a point. It was pretty rough. And I think for us, you know, I recognize that, hey, I'm going to be happy. If something happens to my grandkid, I'm going to tell you what, that's going to be a real bad day. A real bad day.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
I'm not going to be a happy person at that point. I get it. If something happens to my wife, if something tragic happens to friends, you know, when I hear these sad things, yeah, you know, that's not a great thing. I recognize it. You know, I can be sad about that. But as my general rule of thumb, I realize happiness is on me. I got to pursue it. I got to trust God. If I try to chase it, praise, money, pleasures, possession, it's not going to work. Because you're chasing the wrong thing. You need to just chase God. You chase doing the good things. Don't worry. And look at Solomon. What did Solomon say? He did not chase money at that point in his life. He said, give me wisdom. And God said, I'll give you everything else. Because you asked for wisdom, I'll give you everything else. That's the way I found in life. I just need wisdom. I just need help to do my job. He takes care of everything else. All the stuff that you would seek, all the things you would want, you'd find not seeking it. But if you're the type of person, I can only be happy if I'm praised, you're not going to find it. You'd be better off to work hard and just let it come. Just let it come. People will see it. They don't recognize it. All the stuff you want is going to be found if you just focus. Just focus, right?
It changes who you are. I mean, honestly, it changes who you are. When you start seeking and chasing after those praises from people and this and that, like it really does affect your personality, affects the choices you make. It changes who you are as a person.
Right.
Because, man, you hunger after it so much. You become narcissistic. You become very dependent on other people's input. Right. And instead of doing things that you just naturally would want to do, you start compromising. You start changing things. You start acting and talking in ways that people that have known you your whole life start going, man, I don't even recognize that person anymore. What's going on with that person? And it's a lot of times, honestly, it's fed by some sort of insecurity within the person, you know, and that's an unfortunate thing. You know, seek counsel if that's you. But, man, it's a never-ending pit. Right. It's a slippery slope that if you fall down, man, you're going to have a really hard time coming back out of that.
Yeah, doing the right thing, I think, is where it's found. Just you just need to worry about just doing the right thing, being true to what you're like. I want to be true to what my values are.
That's right.
Like whatever it is I'm doing as a pastor, I want to be true to what my values are as a pastor. When I worked, I was just true to my ethic. You know, my ethic was you go in, you work hard, you don't pay attention to what other people are doing.
So good.
I don't care. I didn't care if I got praised one day. I would have or anything for the work that I did. Yep. You know what I'm saying? I was there to do it for the Lord. You know what I mean? So to me, I think I had great peace and contentment because I was doing it for the Lord. Even Paul said in Philippians 4, I found contentment in all things. This is the key to life. You want to be happy, find contentment. Be content with less, be content with more. He can do all things through Christ who strengthens him. That's huge. We're
gonna be so much better at being reflectors than receivers.
Right.
Of glory.
Right.
When we are trying to receive glory, it's going to be our demise, man. We have to reflect it.
It's so pointless. Honestly,
it really is.
It's so pointless.
Moses came down from the mountain after he met with God, right? And he could have received a lot of praise and glory for that. He was the one chosen to do that. Are you kidding me? No, what did he do? He reflected the glory after that encounter with God. Like he was the one. He didn't seek it. He put himself, he says that he was the humblest, most meek man. He put himself on the ground, man. I mean, he was like, I'm not interested in this.
But he had it. You think about like when he left, like God had to do so much with Joshua just to get them to stop thinking about Moses. I mean, that's how the whole life, even the Jewish people, I'm sure they didn't spend a lot of time talking about Joshua, although he's a great leader after him. They talked about Moses.
Yeah.
You know,
and the thing is he didn't seek it.
No,
like he didn't seek it. He didn't want anything to do with it. I just, Lord, you got the wrong guy.
Exactly.
You know? This place of humility positioned him to then, for thousands of years later, he's still receiving praises.
People sense it, man. When you're seeking praise, when you're doing stuff just for people to look at you, I think they sense it. I think, again, just be happy, do good, fear God, keep his commandments, those kind of basic things. You'll find the path to happiness. It'll find you.
That's right.
It'll come and find you, but don't chase, because he says all things are chase after the wind. You're just going to get frustrated if you're constantly chasing these things. Hopefully that's been helpful to you. You guys all have a great and a blessed week, and we do appreciate you tuning in to listen to the show. Truly, thank you.